lot of bad press about password managers lately.
Yeah,
well,
especially LastPass.
Yeah,
they
I don't
they
use
got hacked. I
LastPass.
mean, if you're a password manager and
Yep.
you get
Mhm.
hacked, I mean, you kind of have only a few jobs, and I mean,
Yep, they
so
got fired from me. I use Bitwarden now.
they got what?
Bitwarden?
Oh, okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's what I use as well.
I'm using something called KeyPass, and I heard that it's not all that secure. There's some bugs with it. There's some kind of way of that a program can lurk waiting for you to unlock it, and once you unlock it, they can grab all your data.
Keylogger.
Yeah,
Yeah, any kind of software that they can target, they'll target. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and kick us off here. We have just a few items on the agenda, but I wanted to get things done and kind of move through the agenda. So, um, John Mark, if you could do me a favor and click on the link for the agenda from the main web page and bring it up, that would be excellent. And our first order of business is our secretary's report. So, Brian, I see you're on, and you're on mute though.
Yes, sir.
There I was wondering if you'd go ahead and give us our secretary's report.
Yes, let me go ahead and bring that up here for us.
Okay.
And let's see here. There we go. Share screen. Okay. Is that coming through for everybody?
Coming through.
oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So last month, in our meeting there during the secretary portion there, we talked about the board meeting and wanting to do some continued review of the year-end finances. That was part of what Jim was wanting to kind of look at the past couple years with Eric and stuff, and just kind of get an overview of where everything's kind of going, just get a better feel for it. Jim asked if I can include the votes in the minutes. I wasn't getting those in there, so I added those. Eric did purchase the square card reader that we can use during the fest. Still need to review the admin access. That was kind of a little to-do item that we had from the previous meeting.
Yep.
Is that still an outstanding thing, or was that?
Leave it as an outstanding item because we had the board meeting and then I was busy with other things and I forgot to ask. So we still need to work on that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then with that there, Eric had a move to approve and John Mark seconded the minutes from last month. Okay.
And then I assume the motion carried.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm probably missing that then. So
Yeah.
Yep. I'll make a note to myself to make sure I get those in there. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked a little bit about with the treasurer's report there, kind of with the timing, with the change of our monthly meeting being closer to the beginning of the month, and then just getting all the bank reports and things like that Eric needs to put together a report. There just isn't enough time frame, and I think there was going to be some discussion on that, on how we want to handle that, or if we're just going to be a month behind each meeting.
Okay.
Then in the director's report, Grant had stated that almost all the tables were almost gone. We only had 8 left at that time. Dinners were selling well for the fest. Randy stated that we had about 43 attendees at that point for the fest that were going to be coming. There was an announcement that the Amigos will be doing a live broadcast during Cocoa Fest. That'll be interesting to see that. Jim asked if anyone would be available on Friday to possibly go over to Bob's house to pick up items that would be brought to the fest and sold during the auction. Jim also asked if anybody be available for Friday, that we're going to need some assistance in just getting things set up and going, whether it's, lighting, cameras, microphones, just the things that we need to make the fest operate. John Mark stated that he would be speaking to Annette, Bob's wife, just to kind of discuss how things are going to be handled as far as, money, donation, how we're going to do all that. We did have a action item. I'm not sure if this was kind of an Eric and Grant thing, but we just wanted to make sure that we had a debit card available to use during the fest. About that time, Rich joined the meeting a little bit late, but he had a few questions that we discussed, and he had asked if the fest was going to be added to the calendar, and Eric spoke up that he would be adding that to it. He also asked for a report for the IRS because he's been handling some of the filing of the reports each year, and he had asked for a report for that. He also asked which address do we want to use, and we discussed that it needs to be an address that's within that area because we're a nonprofit. And at that time, it was discussed that the 3312 Miller Avenue was the current address that we've been using. And then Jim asked if Rich could find the right form that was needed for filing. And that was a takeaway for Rich to do there. So,
Okay.
Did we not have a motion with the director's minutes that I forgot to write down? I'm guessing.
I don't.
That's just a
just-
report. We're not
that was
really
just report out,
yeah,
right?
yeah, just
So
report. Yep.
so-
Okay. Kind of second guessing myself here for a second. Then we moved on to the newsletter. Grant wasn't available. Grant B was not available to give us a report. So we moved on to new business. Jim spoke about Bob Swagger's passing, and sorry, that is old. That's not the new. Where did my notes go? Let me
By the
double
way,
check myself here.
It's Swoger, so it's SWOGER.
Yeah, I had a typo from there. Let me look here. I got my handwritten notes here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I just I used the previous month as a template there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. There we go. So really we had no new business. And so after some of that discussion there, we went on to Jim asked if there was any more topics and to put a close to the meeting, and Grant moved to close. Eric seconded, and then all in favor, everyone spoke up and no opposed. So we closed the meeting.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
It was kind of a short and sweet meeting there. We
fair enough.
Went right down through.
Annette, I think she has an E on the end of her name, just so you're got that.
Okay.
Yeah, right up there. So any, it's like John Mark will be speaking. There it is right there. Any comments or concerns about the February meeting minutes? Okay. And with that, is there a motion to approve? That would be Eric, right? I can't hear. You're muted. Okay, Eric moves.
I asked a question, but I was muted.
Oh, okay.
My question is, did we make any decision about what address to use for the club? Because I don't
Yours.
remember whether we did or not.
Well, we did that on the directors meeting. We were going to have everything set to be your address, since the one item's already set to yours.
Oh, so that's in the wrong minutes.
Well, no, we talked about it here, but I mean, we talked about it in the general meeting, but we also talked about it in the directors meeting late last month, and we said since the one is already set to be your address, if you could just find, you were going to take an action item to grab the form to update.
Okay, in answer to that, I might as well answer now. I have not found out whether there's a specific form for doing that, but one of the things I did find out is that anytime you make any kind of contact having to do with the club, you have to use a copy of the stub that came with the EIN awarding.
Okay.
The form had a stub on it that you're supposed to send with any things you have to do with the IRS
Okay.
communications.
I don't know that I ever saw anything around the EIN, so we might have to get in touch with Brian.
Well, I do have a copy of it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, so I can, I'm available, I have that available to make a contact now.
Okay.
Okay.
But whether there's some specific form, I don't know yet.
Okay. It'd be nice to get a copy of, if they have a way to scan it in, it'd be nice to put an electronic copy of that that stub or whatnot in the Google Drive for the there's the legal information, the 501c information is in there, or I guess this would be under financial because it's the EIN info, but be nice to have it there just so we won't have to, worry about it getting lost.
Yeah, I'll make a note to take care of that.
Okay. Okay, well, I have a motion, but I don't have a second. So
I second. This is Grant.
Grant, okay, a second. All in favor of approving the February secretary minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thanks, Brian.
Yep, you're welcome.
You can go ahead and unshare, and I'll go ahead and I know the answer for Eric, but I'll let him comment. So you're making your change over to QuickBooks, and so as a result, we're a little behind, correct?
Yeah, I'm still trying to learn the ropes. And I need a good another weekend. So bear with me. We do have insight into what's going on in our accounts. So there's nothing to be concerned of there. The directors, we all have access. So, and then we also opened up a new bank account to take care of getting a new card, and this bank is closer to me and everything. So we'll be switching over to a new bank account. Shouldn't really affect anything. I feel like there was a third thing that was going on, but I can't think of anything else. So I guess that's everything.
The debit card, you got
Debit
that taken
card.
care of.
Yep,
Yep.
the debit card, and I got that updated with the hotel. So they're all set to go. We just got to make sure there's money in the account when they're ready to charge.
Okay,
Boom.
go ahead.
I yawned. I'm sorry.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay.
If I, which
go-
bank is it? Which bank is it that we opened the account with?
The bank is with Win Trust.
Wintrust? Okay.
Yeah, it's a Chicago area bank. That was the third thing. We need to get the directors on the account. Probably best to do that at Cocoa Fest.
Okay. Well, we'll move into direct reports. So Grant is on. So Grant, you want to give us an update on Cocoa Fest?
Yep, sure. So things are going pretty well. We are down to only 4 tables left available at this point. We have working on the schedule. I sent that to you, Jim, waiting for your approval on that. And once you approve that, I will put that out onto the website. We have 6 presenters this year. And then we also have the auction both on Saturday and Sunday. So I will be meeting with the hotel on the 3rd week of March to make the final preparations for everything. Right now, dinners are doing pretty good. T-shirts, we're still using the spread shirts to do the official T-shirts. Because as Tony has told me in the past, t-shirts have cost us a lot of money and wasted a lot of money. So I think this is the better way to handle that. So, but
Okay.
other than that, we're down to the nitty gritty. So I still need help though on Friday of the fest. Also, I will be in town on the 20th, Wednesday the 20th, because Tony and I are going to be going to John's house to pick up more auction items. So we be pretty much ready to go by that point.
Okay.
Lanyards, still waiting on quotes on that too. Hopefully I'll have that here in the next day or two. So
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Any questions for Grant around Fest?
Yeah, the t-shirts, I think we got a payment of something like $30.
Yep, I sent that to you.
Yep, so that seems a little low. How many sales did we have?
Well, you make about $5 or $6 a t-shirt.
Yeah, so we
But that would
sold
be
about
those
5 or 6
have been from
t-shirts.
those have been from January.
Yeah. I wonder if we could get a bundle to sell at the show.
No,
Okay.
no, because these are made to order. And as Tony and I have this, as Tony has discussed with me, and he's here, he can also tell you the same thing. The club in the past has spent money on t-shirts and it has been a flop. Am I
Yeah.
understanding you correctly on that, Tony? Well, maybe he's not there.
Yeah,
We
I'm
lost
here.
him. Oh, there he is.
I had to turn on the mic. If anything prevented us from going into the black in years past, it would have been the unsold t-shirts because we had already paid out money for them. But of course, if the shirts were unsold, we don't get any money coming in for them. That's when we handled it ourselves. Now, granted, it didn't go into the red by over $300 each year, but that was the cautionary for the club handling t-shirts.
Well,
Yeah.
and we are up, so there is that. And then another thing, I picked up 2 totes of cocoa gear from a donator in Wisconsin, so I'll be bringing that to the auction. It has a Coco 3, bunch of cartridges, floppy disk controller and drive, a Coco 1 in there as well. So a lot of good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, Jim, are you needing any ink or anything I need to purchase? Because I'm going to start purchasing stuff for the fest here this month. So are we doing okay on ink and cards for the badges?
Yeah, I'm doing okay at this point. I'm good there. However, your comment about sending the schedule over, I think I must be missing an email then because I've got an email from you around a registration link, but I don't remember getting an email.
Should have been would have been yesterday, probably around 1 o'clock. I sent you a shared from the Google Drive.
Yeah, I see a Glenside coordinator shared a spreadsheet and it says Coco Fest 2023 registration. So is that the one that I?
Nope, I must have sent the wrong one. I'll send it to
Okay.
you again here.
Okay, that's
I
fine. 'Cause
apologize.
I'm happy to look at it, but I was like, it looks like registration data, which is fine, but I didn't see any schedule in there.
Okay, yeah, I'll resend it there to you. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. Well,
So,
I
and
mean,
just to let just to let everybody know, I'm pretty much just trying with the increased cost that we are having this year. I'm trying to be, very cautious of the finances and everything. So that's another reason why, Eric, that I don't feel comfortable buying, several hundred t-shirts, to sell at the fest. This way is a little bit more safer. So
Yeah, no risk involved, just
exactly.
caution.
And it's hard to know what size to get.
Exactly.
Yep, understood.
Sounds good.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So I will be in town Thursday evening, and so I'll be there on Friday to help with final setup. There's an update to information that was provided in the last meeting report, or last secretary's report. So last time we'd talked about potentially going over on Friday to obtain the items from Annette Swoger, but subsequently, John Mark noted to us that Annette's pretty set, I guess, or pretty confident that she wants to have this stuff removed from her house the week prior. That's correct, right, John Mark?
She's got a date marked down. I don't remember exact date, but it's like a week or two before the Cocoa Fest.
So,
Comment.
yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah. I believe we pretty much have all of the cocoa related items out of the house. I picked up the 4 DEC double drive setups last week.
Okay.
That takes care of almost anything in the house. Now, what's going to happen on the 15th of April is that the area above her garage is going to be evacuated. If there is anything up there that's cocoa related, somebody should be on hand beside myself, because I'll be there, to see if there's anything that could be of use to the club in the auction. There's also probably going to be radio tubes for ham gear, and she doesn't know whatever else. There may be computer stuff up there, cocoa related. She's not sure.
You're saying April 15th?
Pardon?
Yeah,
April
Yeah.
15th? Yeah, I can be there. Do you want someone there or just on call?
Well, let's just say this. There won't be any time to pick it up after the 15th, because if people do not repurpose it on that day, it's going into a dumpster that will be on her property that day.
Okay,
So
I can come out.
being on call does not help. It's spot decision.
Yeah, no, I can come out that day. What time are you going to be there?
I'm going to try to be able to be there as soon as she's ready to throw open the garage, and that'll be 10 o'clock.
Okay. I'll mark it on my calendar.
Okay. So I'm bringing it up because we won't need folks to go over to her house on the Friday before the fest, because this will all have taken place by then. However, we obviously would be nice to have folks. I think, to your point, Grant, you're looking for some folks to help with final setup and putting the stuff out for the auction, and just generally getting tables set up and registration desks set up and stuff like that. Correct?
Yep, that's correct. So like I said, I'll be there on that Wednesday because Tony and I have stuff we got to pick up from another gentleman in Chicago. So I'll be there way ahead of time. So whoever is available, just reach out to me and let me know, and we can get that. Mainly, we just need to get the stuff from the BCF Midwest garage and get that stuff set up and so forth.
Okay. So Cocoa Fest at glensideccc.com is your email address if people need to contact you.
Awesome. Yep.
Comment?
Yeah.
Jim, you should have that schedule spreadsheet in your email now.
Okay. Yep, I see it. Thank you.
So you got it, Tony?
I got it, yes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's weird. I wonder how he got it and not you, if it was in the same email.
Don't know. Okay, so that's the fest.
And one other thing too, I'm sorry. Tony and I will be working with Rich this probably the next couple weeks to get the registration process down, and the goal there is just to make it as easy as possible. So
okay. Sounds good.
Are you going to need me there, or are you just going to give me a seat for the register?
Yeah, we can get you a seat. So
yep, sounds good.
And Rich, I do have a laptop for you.
I got that email.
So when can I get it to you?
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
I did get a note. So is there anything else on the Cocoa Fest update?
nope, you're good, John.
Okay.
Jim.
Okay. So I have been reaching out. I reached out after the last meeting, and I reached out after the director meeting to Grant around the newsletter. Um, he said um, he has been challenged in getting the last issue assembled, and he definitely wants um, to get it done. So he's trying now um, to get it finished prior to the fest, and um, get it out. So I'm kind of doing that. But I also and I'll have an item in new business about the newsletter and the library. So, but I do think that Grant is um, he's got some other stuff going on right now, and so we may have to come up with some alternate plans for the newsletter. So I'm going to continue to encourage him to finish it up, and um, we'll see where that goes. So for folks who are wondering where the newsletter was, it evidently is still being worked on, um, but Grant has not been able to get it over the finish line.
I've got something to add to that.
Yeah.
I took a part of the last newsletter and put it in a text to speech program and generated an MP3 file that was maybe 6 megabytes long of just one article,
Hmm.
and tried it out. It's not real great, but it mispronounced my name. It said Mobley instead of Mobley, um, but I I don't know whether to, send it out maybe to a few people and let them see what they think. I don't know if just having the audio is all that great. I guess if you're driving in your car, you can't be looking at pictures while you're driving anyway. So maybe just the audio is good. And when you get home, you can open up the newsletter and look at the pictures that went with the articles. Um, but
We could
I don't
hire Bruce D. Moore to read the articles.
Who?
get what?
Yeah. Right.
Bruce Moore, the vocalist.
Yeah.
Oh. But
Well,
anyway, I don't know how good of an idea it is, and it's a little bit extra work, and I don't know who really wants to do it, but it's kind of an idea that maybe it would be worth a try. It could be married, it could be a YouTube video, or it could be a PowerPoint presentation or something like that. I don't know.
one
Or
of
just an
one
audio.
one of the things I would suggest, if you've got it, you know if you could take an opportunity to do this, I think there is a program that will take an MP3 file and turn it into a YouTube video. Um, and what I was thinking is Glenside has we have a YouTube, we have Facebook, and we have a YouTube channel, but definitely we have a YouTube channel. And so if you could do one more thing and convert the video to or convert the MP3 file to a video, we could put it up in YouTube and then put a couple links to it from the website and from Facebook and whatever, and have people view it and listen to it and see if they're interested in it. And if there's interest, then we could see about somebody taking it on to convert the newsletter articles to audio for podcasts, or sorry, for like an audio book, so they could listen to it, like you said, while they're driving.
Yeah.
So that would be my suggestion. I don't have a problem with putting it up on the channel or up on the YouTube channel, but it needs to be a YouTube video. Even though there's no video part, it would just be the audio. And I've seen other groups do that, and it's just got like a little spectrum meter or a little waveform meter or whatever it does, and whatnot, which is fine. Then we could point people to it and see if they're interested.
Okay.
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 So okay, so that's the newsletter update, and then I will look here. I don't know that since we didn't have any new business last time, we don't really have any old business this time. So I'm going to switch to the new business. And I've got a couple items, and then others may have a few as well. So let me get back to, okay, here we go. So the first item is MailChimp, which is who sends out our emails around meeting notices and the newsletter and so forth. They sent us a note in February indicating that they are changing the terms of their product. So we were using their free service, and now they are going to be charging for clubs that have more than 500 folks that get the items. We currently have about 763 people that get the newsletter and meeting notices and whatnot. So we fall above that limit, and there's payment required for that. So we're looking at alternatives. So I just want to let everybody know it's no big deal. We're just going to look at alternatives and see, since we're going to need to pay for this solution, is there a lower cost or other free option for a nonprofit to use?
How much is it, may I ask?
You know what? I looked up that information. I think it's like $10 a month or $15 a month. Let me see here real quick. I looked it up, but I didn't exhaustively price it. So let's see, $13. So starts at $13 a month. I think when I looked at it, there was a little bit more that you had to pay. So I think it was in the $15 a month, but their pricing page says 13. So, but there might be other, every time that somebody does a price increase, it's always or everybody, every time somebody starts charging or has an increase, we tend to look at what's available in the marketplace. So, and there's nothing. MailChimp was not it wasn't like it was a premier item. It was one that was already set up, and we were just using it. So anyway, any other questions on that? Okay. The other one is, and I'm going to switch over right now, or actually, John Mark, did you have an opportunity to bring up the meeting agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you share your screen real quick,
Um,
or share the document?
Screen share. Um,
Got it.
There it is.
Okay.
Share.
Okay. Okay, we're seeing like, there we go. Okay. So, oh shoot, it didn't bring up the new items. Maybe can you reload it? Reload the page? Just go up or do Control R.
Really?
Yep. Okay, go down a
There
little
you go.
bit. Dang it. Okay, hold on. Oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't save it. Give me a minute here. Duh. Okay, my bad. Whoops.
Jim, you do work in IT, right?
I do. It's okay. Give it a second here, and why don't you reload it again and see?
He
Sorry.
didn't have a ticket on it.
Okay, go down.
Yeah, that's right.
Go down.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. So I wanted to let everybody know that Bob's Froger Celebration of Life is going to be this Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m. at the Hoosier Grove Barn, 700 West Irving Park Road, Streamwood, Illinois. I know a couple folks from the club are going to be attending. So I wanted to make sure people were aware of that. I also was thinking, I was thinking it might be nice to have the club send a condolence bouquet or something appropriate for the celebration of life. So I thought I'd at least throw that out and see if there was any interest from other folks in doing that.
Like a plant or something?
Yeah, I'm not a huge, I'm not completely conversant on celebration of life items, but I figured that like sometimes they do like a potted plant or a flower arrangement or something like that.
Yep, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Brian, Eric, Tony, John Mark?
Before we go with any flowers or anything in a short time, let me confer with Annette and see if she would rather have a donation to a charity or something.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, that's fine too. Brian?
Tony just took my thought.
Okay, okay. Eric?
No, no, nothing to add.
Okay. John Mark?
I can't think of anything. I think Annette's a little sad that that her granddaughter doesn't have a grandfather anymore, but other than that, she's handling it real well and is kind of looking forward to redecorating the house the way she wants it and getting all that ham equipment out of the back room and getting to use that room for what she wants it for. And less of a man cave and more what she wants. Bob had a big stereo system and a little TV way up high on a shelf, and she would have to hold her neck up real high to look at that TV. And she's looking to pull all that out and put in a big screen TV and a regular stereo. And so
Okay.
she's looking to travel more and get out and have more freedom and spend time with her friends. So she's really doing well.
Okay.
I think she's a little lonely, but she's handling it all real well.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm thinking. I mean, Tony, I'm happy to work with you on like what's appropriate. I probably should have thought of this at the last meeting, so we'd had a little bit more time. But I guess I was thinking if we could make a motion to, and Rich, I forgot to ask if you had any comments on this.
No, I pass.
Okay, that's fine. So I was thinking if we had a motion to allot some funds for something that was appropriate, you know, Tony and I, or maybe Tony, you could take care of getting something that was appropriate to present to the or have sent to the celebration of life.
Okay.
Okay. So if folks are interested, I'm happy to entertain a motion. And I don't know what the appropriate amount of money is, but you know, probably a 50 or 75 or something seems reasonable. But that's just, you know, that's just my
I make a motion that we have Tony pick up something and then we reimburse him for that cost for the celebration of life for
Okay.
for Bob.
Do you have a not to exceed amount?
I would say no more than 100. Probably a
Okay.
good point, right? Yeah.
Okay, so the motion for either a something or a donation to an appropriate charity with a card not to exceed $100. Sounds like the motion on the floor. Is that correct, Grant?
Yes.
Okay. Any second?
I'll
I'll second it. Oh, go for it.
Who was the
That was Rich.
Oh,
I
Rich.
think,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Have a second. So any discussion? Any additional discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. So I'm going to bring up two additional items of new business, and you guys, it's up to we can go ahead and get back to, you can, yeah, thank you, um, uh, John Mark. So there's 2 items that are not on the list, but they've come up. So I got the information from Grant today, and so um, wasn't exactly sure, the thought process around there, but we're struggling on the newsletter, and I know Grant had these great ideas around the newsletter and whatnot, but the challenge I'm having with the newsletter is people have written articles for the newsletter, and then if the newsletter gets delayed, those articles end up getting delayed. And I was thinking we might want to change and have newsletter articles placed on the website whenever we have articles at whatever basis that we put articles in there, and then treat that as our primary newsletter, and then however often that we could have somebody take the articles that are on the website and put them into newsletter format and send them out um, to those folks who prefer to read it as a newsletter as opposed to um, being a on the website, right? So people that like it in something they could print out or whatnot, as opposed to a web presentation. The reason I bring that up is currently our bylaws are indicating that we need to deliver a newsletter to folks quarterly, right? Every 3 months or 4 times a year, I think is how it's written in there, which I think we have material we can share on a quarterly basis, and it's pretty easy to share it on the web, but having a larger newsletter be put together it's evidently becoming very challenging, and I'm not sure how much I'm not sure how much effort we want to try to invest in finding folks to take the time to put the newsletter together on a quarterly basis and potentially have it be late if they, if other things get in the way of them finishing it up, and then delaying that information being distributed with people, that we could get it to them on a regular basis if we put it on the website. So just throwing that out there is potentially a way to satisfy the spirit of, at least, of our bylaws without getting into the situation we've gotten in recently where we've had newsletter editor challenges for probably the last year.
Comment?
Yeah.
The newsletter doesn't necessarily have to be 20, 25 pages either. So
Understood.
if the editors, present, future, get quality content, it it doesn't say how long the newsletter has to be. Cover the important parts for the club business and a couple of articles of worth.
I understand. Fair enough.
So my
And-
question would be, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, do we really need to do a newsletter? I think I like your idea better, Jim, where we actually can maybe get some traffic to our website and people can go there instead of having to send out an email. Because do we even know how many people actually read that newsletter? I mean, because most people, it probably goes into the junk and they're spam and they never receive it.
I think Eric can probably give us maybe some stats on how many times our particular newsletter have been downloaded.
I can look into
WordPress
that.
might provide that. And I don't disagree, Tony, with your position of, it doesn't have to be really long. It's just the person, whoever it is, that we end up saying, hey, could you please put a newsletter out? Then it's kind of dependent on that person, as opposed to there's a lot of us that can put material on the web. And what I could do is I could put some articles on the website and then send a link, right? Because we just send a link out to the newsletter anyway right now. We could send a link to the articles that we have on the website out, like as if it's a newsletter, right? We say, here's some articles for January or February or March or whatever, and that could constitute the newsletter.
And where on the website are you wanting to put this at? Just out of curiosity, are you want to make another tab on the website?
No. I was thinking, I was thinking the front page, right, where we put our rest of our stuff, right? Because a lot of what we're putting on the website is relevant for the newsletter as well. So it's
Correct.
meeting notices, it's it's recaps of the fest, it's it's you know, it's art. We could put the articles there too, right? We don't today, but we could put the articles there, and we could put all the graphics associated with the articles there. Um, so
Well, we're gonna
Yep.
need to, I'm looking at MailChimp, and we're gonna need to get that done by March 10th.
I do know.
Can't
Yep.
use it after that date.
Correct.
Wow.
Well, you can use it, but you can't send out campaigns on it. I mean, you can go
Yeah,
look
not
at
without
information.
paying anyway.
Yeah.
Could I ask a more general question that maybe Eric can answer? If we're sending out 700 meeting notices or 700 links to the newsletter,
Mhm.
does MailChimp give us a way of knowing whether an email is even opened to be
Yeah.
read?
It does.
Yeah, and our numbers are pretty average for newsletters. I'm trying to find those numbers right now for you guys.
Yeah, but the answer, Rich, is yes. It records who's opened the newsletter, and I believe it also records who's clicked on the link that was the newsletter itself.
I think perhaps we maybe should institute a system where if a certain number of years go by and somebody has not responded to the emails, that their name be removed from Tandy list or from our list or whatever. I know Bob Swoger kind of liked to keep everybody on, even dead people.
Right.
Because he loved large numbers representing the strength of the club. But it puts us at a little bit of risk of being a spammer if we keep too many, and it might save us money with whoever the the replacement for MailChimp is if our numbers are not quite so large.
Yep. But we had, I mean, just to give you a note, we had 743 recipients for the meeting, for this March meeting, and 33% of them opened it, and 35 folks clicked on the agenda link that was in the system. And so I can look at some of the other campaigns. Have you found the same information,
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, I see the newsletter was 40% opened it and 13% clicked on the newsletter link. 40% an open rate, that's almost unbelievable. That's a lot.
Yeah, and
So I think our that just shows that our members really want to get these emails. So
yeah, so we have 40.4% open, which is 289 people opened, and 99 people clicked on the link to read the newsletter. So
yeah, usually you want to target for 10%. We're at 13% opening it. But just the fact that they look at the email at 40%, that's so high. So I think we may find that people won't read it for a few years and then they'll just check in and see what's going on. So I don't think it'd be a good idea to remove them unless they bounce or they ask to be removed.
And who knows, they might actually show up to a meeting every now and then.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Case in point, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So I don't know where we were going with that, but definitely we can get that information, and that's what the numbers look like.
Yeah, and I think we have a plan to move our newsletter or our mailing service to a service that offers 1,000 users instead of 500. So for free. So that's where we're going to go with that.
So yeah, I think I like the idea of putting it on the website. I think that's a good idea, Jim, until we have a better solution.
I think that's a good idea. And one thing I have a worry about is the newsletter kind of forces us to sit down and do whatever we need to do. If nobody's forcing us to release an article, it's not going to be released. So maybe we should post at least XYZ number per month. That it's newsletter, quote unquote, newsletter related.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that Eric will be the one who's be putting those up there for everybody.
I would rather give people access to put them up
Yeah,
themselves.
I was gonna say I put mine up, and I know you put
Yeah.
yours up, Grant. So
But
Yeah.
But for
I mean,
people who post like a guest,
yeah.
yeah, I can take care of those.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So we do have a way for guests to do it. Okay, that's good.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would do it for them, but you know, like a one-off guest who doesn't want to post all the time, I'll just do that for them. Yeah.
Well, um, I mean, obviously, right at the moment, I'm waiting on Grant to release the newsletter. Um, I guess Tony, my question back to you is, if Grant continues to not be able to deliver a newsletter, at what point do we go ahead and deliver a newsletter, even though Grant isn't finished with his newsletter? Like, how long do we think, we should wait before because I can put together like here's some happenings and whatever, or maybe we could just get together and put one together real quick. But uh, you know, but what's our response? I mean, we have a responsibility to the membership to put something out on a quarterly basis, and we haven't been fulfilling that responsibility.
Well, I can think of two occasions where we're almost required to do it. One is for elections.
Hmm.
So we have to do a newsletter before elections.
Hmm.
And then the other one, I mean, it's not required, but we really need to have a newsletter out for Cocoa Fest to tell people to go to Cocoa Fest.
That's
So
right.
I would say at least those 2 times a year.
Okay. Well, um,
I say it's imperative that we get one out as soon as possible, some kind of notification. Uh, Secretary's notes for the past however 3 months or however long since the last one, that's data that's already available. Treasurer's reports, you have to make an executive decision on that with where the numbers are right now, Jim. Just let everybody know that the funds are in a satisfactory condition.
mhm.
And an article for Cocoa Fest is upon us,
Right.
and we only have 4 tables left available. If you want any, here's the address to get to them. Something like that. But it really needs to get something like that. Really needs to get out before, I'd say, well, we're already past 60.
Yep.
Before we pass 45 days.
I agree. I agree. Okay. Well, then that's fine. Then I will, the key is I don't want to end up becoming the newsletter editor in addition to, other duties, right? So, so we need to come up with a more sustainable plan. And I know one of the things that we could do, Grant, maybe to your point, you know, for some time we've considered the option of modifying the bylaws to clean up a few things. And one of the things we could clean up is we could say, maybe we want to be a little bit more we have a little bit more flexibility or leeway on what constitutes a newsletter. Maybe we change it to be, instead of delivering a newsletter, we deliver this content X amount of times per year. And to Eric and Tony's point, we say, it needs to be delivered prior to Cocoa Fest. It needs to be delivered prior to elections or whatnot. The reason I'm a little leery of doing that just right now is I feel like we need to do something right away, and it takes time to update the bylaws, and that could be a significant amount of discussion. So trying to find something that works within our current framework, but gives us a little bit more flexibility.
Is this where we could use a blog for a
Well,
newsletter?
that's what I'm suggesting. We have a
Yeah.
blog, and we use the blog on glensideccc.com, but we treat it as separate from the newsletter. And I'm suggesting that it might make sense for us to put the articles out there so that people who could come to the website can access them, and then deliver a link to those articles as the newsletter, right? So an article and treasurer information, secretary information, Cocoa Fest information, that kind of stuff. But deliver it primarily on the website for the moment.
And then will you send those links out also to Facebook and other
Yep.
social media
Yeah.
too? Okay.
Correct.
We should do it with an eye for historical preservation. So even if we do a link, we should do some kind of an archival, like snapshot of the article, or maybe a link to the Wayback Machine or something,
Okay.
just so that when we're looking through the newsletter in 10 years, we can still read the articles.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna
Well,
work on.
if they're on the website, they'll stay there forever, right? Unless the
Yeah,
webmaster removes
well,
it.
until it's not.
Yeah. Um,
Is
well,
it
I've got.
under documents? What is it under?
It's on the main. It's on the main page has the blog entries right there when you go there. So the meeting announcement, that's a blog entry,
Okay.
right? The other item, John Mark made, gave me some information. So we had at one point we had a library, and um, so I think John Mark, you had mentioned the library,
Yeah.
and I am trying to remember you. I'm trying to, yeah, I think you'd sent me a note about what's the deal with the library. Um, I sent a note out to Mike Rowan, um, and Mike sent me a note back and said that Brian handed a couple of big boxes of floppy disks a few years ago, that Neil and he went through and uploaded everything unique to colorcomputerarchive.org. He said the vast majority of the disks are not originals. And so uh, he said there were some other, boxes of disks. He'd have no idea where those went. And he said he doesn't think what he has is the club's complete collection. So he said that and maybe this is for you, Eric and Tony. He said there's might be some discs in those plastic tubs, that we should we should look at because there might be some archival materials there. So he said unfortunately he's not going to be able to join us at Cocoa Fest, but um, he also said that if someone comes to Tandy Assembly, he would deliver the boxes to them. But I'm questioning with Color Computer Archive and some of these other things, does the club really need to have a club library anymore or not? I'm just kind of throwing it out there, for folks to comment on.
I
Well,
think so, and I'd be happy to host the boxes.
Okay.
I think, like magazines that haven't been scanned, newsletters that haven't been scanned, books that haven't been scanned. I think that needs to be covered. Maybe floppies that haven't been scanned.
I would I mean I think you and I are on the same page, but I would go about it a different way. My view is, so discs that aren't scanned, newsletters that aren't scanned, magazines that aren't scanned, they live in boxes in VCF Midwest and they never get used. So I think the better option would be to quickly find someone who can scan those things
Yeah,
and get
yeah,
them online, right? Because if a
yeah,
newsletter's online, everybody can enjoy it at any time.
right.
Um, so, I mean, and we have an archive of our newsletters and obviously magazines. There is, Hot Cocoa and Rainbow and all that. Most of those are already scanned. If there's other magazines that we're aware of, but I think John Mark, you were noting that if we wanted a library, we would have to create a new one, and I'm not sure I see a lot of value in creating a new one.
Right. I just want the stuff to get scanned and put online, and
Um,
not lost.
Okay.
And going back to talking about storing it at VCF, we could store it at our little spot on the warehouse. I mean, and that's kind of what the whole warehouse is for, is housing this kind of stuff. And if we were to ever break up as a club, we would need to donate all this stuff to another nonprofit organization, and it would already be in one. So I think storing it there would be perfect.
True, but what's the goal of storing a disk that you're never going to do anything with?
Well, yeah, I think I agree with you guys that we need to upload it or whatever. But once it's uploaded, what do you do with the disk? I'd rather we not throw it or give it away. If it's a unique disk, we just
No,
store it.
that's fine. And if we have anything that is of substantial interest to the club, I think it's fine for us to store it. I think where we're getting at right now is we had a library of disks. It sounds like a pretty extensive one, and the and it doesn't really exist anymore. So uh, and I don't know we should. I mean, I think we can maintain what we have, but I'm not sure we should build out another one and appoint a club librarian. I think we should just scan what we have, get it online, have a record of what discs that are originals that we do have, so that if somebody was like, I need to know specifically what color that disc was or something, we can say, oh, the club has one. Next time we're at the warehouse, we'll grab it and we'll take a look at it, or we'll tell you what the specifics were on it, because some of that stuff's important to some folks.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, I guess when you guys are at the warehouse, if you can grab all of the boxes that we have, and maybe we can take some part of Friday and go through and look and see what we really have that's of any interest or importance to us from an archival or collectible perspective, then then I think that's good enough. And then it sounds like in the fall when Tandy List happen, or not Tandy List, but Tandy Assembly happens, I'll or somebody will get the additional boxes that were sent to Mike Rowan a number of years ago. Okay.
Just a question.
Yeah.
At one point, I think Brian Gors was the librarian.
He was.
So has he given everything he had to somebody?
I think, John Mark, you had mentioned that you asked Brian and he said he'd given everything to somebody, correct?
Yeah, I don't think he's got anything left.
Okay.
We know who he gave it to.
Well, that's the
Since
thing.
stuff is
He
missing.
said that he gave it to, what did you say, Mike? I got out of what you told me, Mike Rowan, but you had another name. Or was he trying to tell you he gave it to Mike Rowan?
Well, there are two Rowans in the database, and I wasn't sure which one.
Okay, so sounds like the boxes that he gave Mike Rowan were the boxes that he had.
I see.
But it sounds like Mike thinks that there's other boxes that were part of the stuff that Brian didn't have. And I know Tony and I went through the boxes in late 21, and while there were some interesting pieces of software in the boxes, like some looked like some shareware from various other clubs that had been distributed to clubs, and like little pamphlets talking about them. There wasn't a lot of that. There was maybe 15 or 20 of those in a box, but there wasn't a lot of there wasn't a lot of discs in the boxes that I saw. A lot of it was there was a lot of paper, so there was a lot of newsletters from other clubs and whatnot, which we just left in a box, figuring we would scan it later. I didn't see any magazines, and I saw, like I said, about maybe 30 total, but 15 of them were like these shareware things. And then I think there looked like there was some discs for a BBS that the club had run at one point. But in total, I think there was only like 30 discs that had stuff written on them.
Okay.
Okay.
With some of these items though, so we don't keep purging all this stuff or collecting and everything. Once something gets scanned, could it be brought back for Cocoa Fest and used in the auction?
I think what I'm hearing from what I'm hearing two sides of that. I'm hearing one side, which is, yeah, sure. And then I'm hearing like from Eric, I'm not sure I want to give those things away. I think they're a part of the club, and maybe we want to keep those in the club's possession. So I guess that's a decision that I'm not sure I have Bruce is like, I'd rather keep it. So I think you've got a half and half here. You got some people that would like, that's fine. And then you got others that are like, no, we really ought to keep a hold of it. So might be a little controversial to go down that path, Brian.
Yep, it's just
Right.
a suggestion.
And the other thing too, we got to be careful because I know there's some things that are on the archive that had to be taken down because of copyright issues. So, so there's some things that still are only available in the hard copy. If you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. I've got a assembly book from somebody, and he didn't want. He's still an author, and he doesn't want his books available for free. Yeah.
So then the question would be though, if the club keeps this book and I want to check it out, does that mean the club then will have to mail me that book?
You're a member.
So
Why
my-
not? You have every right to see the book.
Okay, I'm just.
I mean,
I think libraries can give Kindle copies of books for renting.
Yeah, but they'd have to have the license for the book. So, and if they've got the license for the book, then why are we keeping the book if we're just going to give out a Kindle version of the book? I think
Well,
there's,
I would say we invite Grant out to the warehouse and we let him have access to the book.
so I think, I mean, obviously, back in the days when people congregated in a particular location and somebody brought the library with them every month, some of this stuff made a little bit more sense. But I do believe that if a club has an item and a member wishes to view the item, then it stands to reason the club would have purchased or had kept access to the item so that a member could use it. How
Yep, I
practical
agree.
that is, I'm not sure how practical that is at this point, but it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
The
Okay, well,
Internet
go ahead, John Mark.
the Internet Archive is set up as a library so that they can do what they do.
Yeah, we could actually donate our copy to the Internet Archive, and then they could be responsible for giving out digital copies.
That's fair.
Because they have the back end to do that.
That's fair. I mean, my perspective was, I mean, all this is fine, and I do absolutely want to digitize everything that's in those bins, in some fashion, because I'll be honest, I have a feeling that most of the discs that we have are something that's already online. But those newsletters, man, a lot of them didn't have very, and I'm not talking about ours. I'm talking about clubs that sent a newsletter to Glenside. A lot of those, all of those clubs are no longer, and the newsletters that they provided are probably never got wide circulation, and so may not exist anywhere on the web. And so I'm always intrigued by old newsletters, kind of like old magazines, seeing what was a big deal back in 1985 or 1986 or whatever. So absolutely want to get those digitized. My main thing was, I think John Mark was trying to decide, do we want to create a new library, since it appears like our old one is no longer? And I don't know that I'm a huge fan of doing that, just because I'm not sure it'll get much use.
Yeah,
No,
agree.
I think it would be problematic trying to do that.
Well, those are the only two items I had. So does anybody have any additional items for new business?
well,
I'd
in the
like-
past, we made these posters to put out in the lobby so people would know about the Cocoa Fest at the Heron Point building. I don't know that we need to do that at this new venue.
Well, people enjoy buying those posters at the auction.
Yeah, I don't know who wants to make the poster, but my
Well, if they're-
library will let
Well,
me.
actually, they're already made.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we already got them made.
However,
Salvador already made them for us. Thanks.
well, but you're saying the poster is made, or the actual poster is printed?
Well, I haven't printed them yet. No.
That's right. No, but I think you guys need to connect. So John Mark has a way to print the posters, right, John Mark?
Yeah, my library will let me print them, I think for about $15, where Walgreens, I think, will charge about $30 per poster.
Yep.
Yeah, I
So-
got them last year from Walmart. It's where I got them at.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, maybe you guys should connect and see. I mean, obviously, whoever's got the best pricing is, I mean, that's something to consider. Okay.
Yep, that worked. I'll reach
Okay.
out to John and I'll
Yeah, I
send them
mean-
and he can make copies. So.
Well, I mean, if it's more expensive, then it's more expensive. I think John Mark just wanted to make sure that people knew he has a potentially inexpensive option to make posters
I mean,
if we want to make them.
What's the size, Mark? I mean, is it like a full?
I don't
big
remember.
poster?
It's maybe like 30 inches wide and as long as you want, and they want like 50 cents an inch or something like that. Some
Okay.
kind of number like that. I think it works out to be like $15 for 30 by maybe 20 or 30 by 40. I'm not exactly sure. I can find out.
Why don't you
Yeah, if
find
you would
out?
please, and just shoot me an email and then we'll go from there
Yeah.
because I'm probably going to order posters here probably in the next couple of weeks. So we need to get that done pretty soon.
Yeah,
Another thing-
these posters are like photographs. They're kind of floppy. They're not stiff.
Yeah, that's the same ones I get from Walmart too as well.
Okay.
If you check
We
out
hang-
Adorama, they sell, well, as well as the floppy ones, they'll sell stiff board photos too.
Where's that at?
Adorama, it's ADORAMA.
Okay, I'll check
Okay.
that too.
Um,
Comment?
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Revisiting a previous topic. In your email, Jim, you
Yep.
have Annette's response to donation or flowers.
Nope, that's fine. So,
So you could bring it up and figure out dollar wise and have somebody look up whatever diabetes association would be. I don't know, is there a national diabetes association or something?
there's American Diabetes Association. I know
Okay.
that. So I have some.
You would think I should know.
Yeah, don't you? Aren't you type 1 or something? So,
Uh, very deep type 2.
oh, okay. Yeah, the American Diabetes Association. So, we can make a donation to the American Diabetes Association. And so it sounds like um, we were indicating no more than $100. So does anybody have a particular concern with making a $100 donation?
Not at all.
Okay,
Nope, not at all.
I will. I'll do that. I'm just wondering how I get the information to Annette. So maybe Tony, I'll reach out to you on how to make sure she's aware of it.
We'll be seeing her on Sunday.
Okay. Well, I was kind of hoping to make sure she had like a card or something. So,
Yeah.
that indicated that we'd done it, but I'll look it up here real quick. Anyway, okay, I do not have any other items. Does anybody else has any other items?
Have we decided exactly what we're doing with Bob's computers? We just have some vague idea or what?
No, we decided all those computers will be placed in the auction. The
Okay.
Coco and Timex Sinclair computers will be placed in the auction.
Okay.
So what we need right now is we will need to get them to the auction so that we can, I think you mentioned that you have them all, or at least
Yeah.
almost all of them. So if you can't get them there by yourself, we'll help you get them there on Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
So we should make sure the Sinclair people, of course, know that this is going to be there.
Yeah.
I did want to bring up one thing. Are we doing awards this year?
Well,
No.
I don't know.
Okay.
Grant?
No, there's no, there's no way that we could do awards this year.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, I mean, that would be something we probably need to start, and unfortunately, thanks to having to search for the venue, that kind of threw everything off. But yeah, we would probably need to get that communication out, 9 months beforehand that we might be looking to do awards, but.
Okay, no, I'm fine with that. I was just curious.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I
And,
wanted
and,
people.
and I'll be honest with you, if I'm not mistaken, Jim, doing awards in the past, that caused a little bit of friction in the community, did it not, or drama?
Well, it was challenging as to, the emails were around like what kind of prizes would made sense for awards. There were certain people that wanted the trophies, certain people wanted something more like more of use as opposed to like a trophy, and then there was also the question of categories, what makes sense. And then there was another one around, if is it an award for the community, like somebody that did something impressive in the community, or is an award for something for the fest? And there was some debate about that. I've got it kind of stored away. That happened in like 2018. I'll be honest, it looked like a little bit of a hot potato, and I mean, it was
Yeah.
before I became president. It was a hot potato, and it looked like it was very challenging. I'd like to come up with something that was really interesting, but quite frankly, hadn't come up with anything yet. And with the venue change, I've kind of been focused elsewhere.
Yeah, I think that's something we can probably look into, and after
Yeah.
hopefully the next fest. So.
I mean, there's another piece that, somebody's reached out to me, I think it was last year, and said it'd be neat to have a programming contest, which I thought was really cool too, and then make some sort of award for the programming contest. But that requires somebody to kind of manage that, and so I wanted to make sure it didn't get short shrift. So I was hoping we could get this, get the 22 venue, or get the 23 show under our belt, and make sure this location is a good fit, and then work on optimizing it for 2024.
Yep, I think that's a good plan.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, I thought I heard somebody had something else. Maybe it was John
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, I wanted people to know I got a job. I'm very happy about it. It's a part-time job. I'm working for Trans World Radio. I'm technically a volunteer, but I still got a job. And I'm working for Trans World Radio's transmitter site in Guam. I typically have to start communicating with them about 4:30 at night if I need to coordinate something at the same time with them. But I can just work on my own anytime. They want me to put in like 10 to 20 hours a week. And so I'm writing Python code at the moment to do data acquisition on their AC power, 3 phases of power, 1 phase of their 3 phases of their generator, and record frequency and voltage and spikes and log, you know, the like every second to a database, log something, update a display every half a second. If there's a glitch, they want kind of a record of the glitch for like a second worth of samples. And so I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to coordinate problems with their transmitters with problems with the power, maybe something like that. But anyway, I'm working on it, and they're giving me 6 months to accomplish it. And so far, it's going really well. Although I don't think Python is a very good language for almost real-time kind of stuff, but they want me to see if I can do it in Python. If Python doesn't work, they're willing to let me try PyPy, which is quite a bit faster. And if that doesn't work, then I can write it in C or C++. So, yeah,
Cool.
and it's running on a Raspberry Pi. I have remote access into this computer through Secure Shell from my computer in Chicago, in Illinois, and I'm having fun.
Good.
And they're real supportive and nice to work with. They're very knowledgeable about electronics and math and stuff like that. They work on 100,000 watt shortwave transmitters and with vacuum tubes, and they just know they know a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
So it's been real cool.
Okay. Anything else before we close the meeting? Bruce says Rust may be useful, so you can try Rust potentially. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm still retired.
yeah. I'm happy to entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I make a motion, we close the meeting.
Okay. John Mark,
Second.
Grant seconds. All those in favor?
Bye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Cute. I always wondered about that. I always wondered if you all oppose closing the meeting, what do? You just like leave it open all night or what?
Yeah, we start chatting more.
I guess. Okay. Well, I will I let you all know that I went ahead and donated in memory of Bob to the American Diabetes Association. And there's a card that is going to be sent to him. So I do need to, Tony, if you could email me Annette's address so that I could put it in this so they'll mail it to her, then that will be taken care of. And then I guess somebody will have to update the motion because it ended up being me that did the donation. So I'd like to get reimbursed.
No, well, I guess we agreed to reimburse
Tony.
else, but
I guess you can reimburse Tony, and then Tony, you can reimburse me.
Wait a minute. Why do I need to be reimbursed?
just send me the receipt and maybe
Okay.
we'll figure out the approval later.
Okay, sounds
So-
good. I'll let you all leave. I'll let you all get back to the rest of your evening.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim,
Yeah,
you want to hear my snarky response to the address?
sure.
It's on Tandy List.
Oh, I know that. They didn't write. Okay, fine. Fine. Okay, I'm out of here.
All
Yeah.
right, take
Have
care,
a good
Jim.
night.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
All right, take care, guys.